Joining me in the studio is Adegboyega Olatunde, our head of research. Boyega, the Tiger brand story, is it an issue of doing business in Nigeria or a Dangote flour issue?
Tunji, when I saw the article in the papers and they said it was a Nigerian misadventure and the CEO resigned because of that, I said, same thing. Is it doing business in Nigeria or was it Dangote flour? Now, the details. Because Tiger Brands basically invested in 3 companies in Nigeria. The first was Deli Foods. Now, remember that Deli Foods was bought in 2008. A significant stake in Deli Foods was bought in 2008 by Oros Capital. Oros Capital sold that. Now, they manufacture McVitie's. So, digestives, hobnobs, rich tea that you see that's produced locally is manufactured by Deli Foods in Nigeria. Now, they bought into Deli Foods in 2011. Now, the purchase consideration ranged from in between 18 and 35 million US dollars. But Deli Foods is not quoted, is not listed, so there's relatively very little information about profitability and how that investment is doing. However, they bought in the same year, bought into UACN Foods. Now, as we know, UACN is arguably the largest or one of the largest conglomerates in Nigeria. Now, but they bought a 59% stake in UACN Foods. Now, UACN Foods produces very well-known brands. It produces Gala, Swan Water, and Supreme Ice Cream. Those are the premium brands that it produces. A lot of the activity in UACN Foods is actually Gala. Now, that 49% stake, we were at no point given any indication as to the value. However, UACN Foods was valued in the books of UACN at about 2.23 billion, which gave us an estimated value of about 2.17 billion. Now, it's currently valued at 2.32 billion, and they have generated a cumulative profit. Now, we're looking on year, because they own 49% of it. What we've decided to do is strip UACN Foods down into a separate entity from UACN. And what would the profit be if you assume that 100% of the profit, whenever they earn $1 million, 49% of that is going to Tiger Brands. Now, year on year, they would have actually made 779 million naira in 2011, 892 in 2012, 900, almost $1 billion in 2013, 718 in 2014, and 425 million. Cumulatively, they would have earned about 3.76 billion naira in profit from investing in UACN. Now, that, if your investment size is what, 2 billion, that's fantastic. But the problem now is you now have the biggest transaction that they pursued in Nigeria, what I call the Albatross, because that's what they eventually became, Dangote flour. Now, at the point where they bought Dangote flour comprised of Dangote Agro-Sacks, Dangote noodles, and Dangote pasta. It was a 63.5% stake, 35% stake was bought in 2011 at 950 kobo for approximately 30 billion naira. That was $182 million. Now, that stake is currently valued at 6.2. So you've lost the market cap 24 billion. You've lost about 80% of that. Now,
so is the problem, was it valuation or management? What exactly caused the issues?
Now, the interesting thing is the cumulative loss since that investment is what? 19.753 billion. Now, when you look at year-on-year performance, ever since they have bought, at no point has the company turned a profit.
So what exactly is the problem?
Now, is it a case of management? Possibly. I believe it was a case at that point of maybe they actually wanted to get into that space and they probably overpaid. But if you look at, these are losses. Now, their share of the loss in 2012 was 2.5 billion. In 2013, it was 5.3. In 2014, it was almost 6 billion. 9 months into the year, the share of the loss this year, because the losses is over 9 billion for 9 months, is 6 billion. At some point, you're going to ask yourself, when does it end? If I brought in 30 billion into a company, and this excludes capital commitments, this is just how much they paid Dangote, so that's a purchase consideration. You haven't started talking of things like me bringing in money to improve operations.
I want to ask though,
and you've lost 19.8 billion.
Prior to the purchase, was this company profitable?
It was. Surprisingly, it was. For about 2-3 years, they even paid dividends.
So that means it must have been a change in management at some point.
No, I sincerely doubt that it was a change of management, because the truth is, Dangote still retained a holding. He retained 10%.
But not necessarily management.
No,
holding a particular share of the company doesn't necessarily mean...
You know, the thing is, he wasn't involved in day-to-day management. But the truth is, you do not go from being a profitable company to a consistent loss-making company in a year.
So, Boyega, do you think Tiger Brand is cutting their losses?
Yeah, at this point, that's what I feel. If you had gone from an investment of 30 billion and the cumulative loss that we had seen, take a look at this. Now, this is UACN Foods. Mind you, this investment here was valued at what? 2.3 billion, thereabout. And cumulatively, you could have earned, if you had resumed, taken out all the profits, you would have earned about 3.7 to date on your 2.3 billion naira investment. Now, Dangote flour, 30 billion, mind you, you would have lost
19.7.
19 billion. Now, remember what I said, that 30 billion is just a purchase cost. It doesn't include things like capital commitments, expenditures that they've made in terms of improving processes. So it's actually a lot worse than this. This is just an analysis of how much loss that they've accumulated based on the performance of the company. I
think they need to still come out and explain to shareholders and people in general exactly what is the problem.
But in 2013, the CEO admitted, and it said that the company was overvalued.
Yeah, the CEO did admit it. Now, the challenge you have at that point was, when they were entering Dangote flour, it made economic sense. Why? You have Deli Foods. You are a biscuit manufacturer. You have UACN Foods that manufactures gala. Now, the key constituents of both biscuits and gala is obviously flour. So for them, it was a backward integration play. Now, in terms of acquisition targets, who could they have targeted? Flour mills, out of the question. You had Honeywell Flour, also owned by Albatross, probably out of the question. Grand Cereal and Oil Mills, owned by UACN.
How does this tie into job losses, though? Because I do expect that if there's going to be a write-down, a close-down of some sort.
You know, the surprising thing is they haven't said anything about people losing their jobs. I think it's a case of just inefficiency. There are certain things wrong, inherently wrong with. I don't want to believe it's management. Because
whatever it is, somebody's going to lose his job.
Somebody has lost his job already, because the CEO has resigned already.
Yes.
Well, speaking about Dangote, though, we did hear about the fact that he is not in Mali, considering the issues that are going on in Mali right now, the hostage situation happening in the hotel which he stayed in.
He was in the hotel yesterday.
He was in the hotel yesterday, but he is out of Mali right now. He did tweet about it today. So luckily, Africa's richest man is safe. And also, I mean, the thoughts on my mind at that particular point was, if that had been, we probably might have sent the military and the Air Force and the Navy to rescue him.
Yeah, but it's still disheartening, though, to think that 170 people are held in hostage in Mali. And just getting the daily, minute-by-minute update about that, it's quite heartbreaking that this continues.
Well, you do remember that is where this issues in West Africa started, when Nigeria went in to try to help out, and that spread back into Nigeria, and we had an escalation of the Boko Haram issue. But I mean, it's an issue that is global. France just experienced its own share of it, but we'll just continue to hope and stand together to see that terror does not win considerably on the Nigerian plain. But also, we are following stories that the CBN Deputy Governor, Sarah Alade, has come out to debunk statements coming out saying that the central bank will be restricting dollars to the interbank market. Basically, good news, guys, because, I mean, that's part of the issues. We're talking about GDP numbers today, and you've been hearing a lot of manufacturers complain about the fact that they've had issues in terms of getting the FX. So we do not want to see any more restrictions around that. There was an article from Bloomberg, quoting an unnamed source, saying that the central bank might restrict dollar inflows into the interbank market. But MPC, Monday, Tuesday, guys, do you think that the MPC will be deceived by GDP numbers climbing up in Q3?
I see them holding the rates. I mean, South Africa and Nigeria in a sort of similar situation in the sense that our currency both getting devalued, and the rand is also under attack, likewise contracting growth. I mean, South Africa's GDP also contracted, and we experiencing slowing growth. However, South Africa raised its rates by 0.25 basis points, but I believe that Nigeria will hold rates. I don't see any raise or any drop in rates, but I see it hold.
Boyega, Mario Draghi was on the news today saying, I will give you inflation.
Yeah.
Inflation in Nigeria is about 9.3%, and liquidity in the economy.
We've had enough of inflation, Tunji. You said earlier in the program that we've only had real growth. Now that means you've only had growth that's exceeded your rate of inflation for what, 3 years out of 30. That's poor. That's very poor.
That's right.
Well, what I'm even saying is inflation very high. Over 1 trillion in the system in terms of liquidity.
Yeah.
Do you think we will try to cut rates to mop up that money?
The challenge you have with cutting rates is this, Tunji. You want a situation where your money market instruments or your fixed income instruments provide a real return, right? Now you have inflation at 9.3, 9.4. Those, your money market fixed income instruments range in the yields of 10%, 10 to about 12, 13%. Thereabout. So, and remember that your money market rates all take their direction from NPR. So you can't. For now, you can't.
Well, thank you very much, Tosi Olasende and Boyega Olatunde, for being with us on the show. Thank you also for joining us. That's the much we can take on this edition of Business Nigeria. Till next time, keep doing business, Nigeria.